What's up, guys? That really gross guy here. We are back, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about a pretty serious topic, and that has to do with what does it take for a game to finally get to that point where you drop the game altogether, where you give up, where you say, all right, that's it, no more. And this is, of course, talking beyond just simple things like I don't know, you beat the game, or you feel like you've had enough to do in maybe an MMO or something, and not really interested in some of the other side content or whatnot. What I'm talking about is things that maybe get under your skin a little bit, or maybe some kind of change, maybe of a monetization type change in a game. I would love to hear some examples of you guys, maybe some things that you think that get under your skin when it comes to games, or maybe you have an example in general where you have completely dropped a game that that steered you in the wrong direction, or that caused you to basically to log out and never log back in. I'm going to, towards the end, kind of gear this towards Warframe because it is a bit of a focus on this channel, and it is kind of where I'm getting these kind of vibes where I'm really not, I'm not really looking forward to logging into Warframe these last couple weeks, and that mostly pertains to the Xmas rework, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. I did a video on it. There are changes coming to Warframe for the Xmas stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I am optimistic for these changes, and that this is not a long-term thing. But the game has been out for over 9 years at this point, and I've been there since the very beginning. And I've never really been to the point where I was just not looking forward to playing the game at all. And there were, of course, some times where a new update would come out and I'd play it and it would be all right. I wasn't all that in love with it, and I kind of go on my way and, maybe return to that content every once in a while. Like the disruption missions, I wasn't too in love with. What was it recently? I don't know, there was like the evacuation missions that were like long time ago that I wasn't in love with. But anyways, there's some stuff where you go, yeah, well, it's more content. It's something, I'll return to it every once in a while. But yeah, anyways, this is the first time where I've been like, I'm on a place I'd rather spend my time somewhere else and, have fun rather than have a little bit of frustration. And I've, haven't really been logging into Warframe all that much, but I am going to, because of this Xmas stuff, I am going to return to my old free-to-play Warframe profile where I have no heads-up display. I'm not paying for anything whatsoever in the game. If I'm getting platinum, I'm earning it through in-game trades. Solo, so not teaming up with anybody. I'm trying to make it as difficult as possible on myself to, number one, just become a better player, and number two is to learn the Warframes and the game's mechanics to the absolute nth degree, the best possible understanding of Warframes and the mechanics of the game as I possibly can. And I really like that kind of challenge. Unfortunately, I know that returning to the game with those challenges in mind, this Xmas stuff might be too much. And I'm doing this just because I want to really test what the Xmas stuff is, and the complications that maybe a new player, that even though they're not doing the same challenges I am, the fact that they don't understand the game all that well, and they don't necessarily understand the best way to mod, to kind of put myself much closer to their shoes with the challenges, to struggle and maybe, I don't know, have some feedback or talk to you guys a little bit more. I don't know, get more in touch with newer players, and I don't know, enjoy that challenge, and maybe spark up some new conversations. But anyway, going back to the whole idea of what making you drop a game. There's examples out there. There's been some monetization that some games have done. There have been pay-to-win things. Even if you don't include dropping the very same game, sometimes you'll have a game that, for instance, Call of Duty did this a little bit. There's a lot of other games that, for example, they've made several games in a row. They do their multiplayer thing. They're successful, and they maybe reach a little bit too far. They get a little too hungry for money, and then before you know it, the next Call of Duty comes out with the loot crates or drop boxes or whatever the hell they're called, and before you know it, there's these mechanics in there that require you to pay real money for items, and cosmetics are one thing or whatever, but for the advantage. I remember Call of Duty, people were saying that there was no pay to win, even though there were like legendary weapons in the, forgive me, there were like legendary weapons in some of the loot crate drops, and people were saying, oh, well, they're more like side grades. Well, this gun does shoot faster and more powerful. Yeah, maybe it does have a little bit less ammo in the magazine, but ultimately this gun is going to kill me faster or kill someone faster. So there is an advantage. There's an advantage there. Yeah, you could earn it in game, but you earn it through earning loot drops. Like you can't just go buy it. Some of them you could buy, some of them this or that, but it's like someone was paying immediately for an advantage and would hinder your ability to properly get what you need to get that equipment, or it would just hinder your enjoyment of the game. And Call of Duty isn't the only game that did that. Lots of games introduced loot boxes and really tried to suck their players dry. There's other games, the big famous Raid, Shadow Legends, another game that's notorious for pay-to-win type stuff, even though they harp on the idea that you can absolutely play free to play and get everything in the game. What they do in Raid Shadow Legends is, number one, they make it to the point where you have to play the game pretty much full time. They make it so that you are hoarding all the resources in the meantime, so that when an event comes up, you drop everything you have to get this thing. And then they make it so difficult, so near impossible for anyone that doesn't know the game to the absolute, down to the tiny little detail, make it so difficult. Then last minute, what they do is they drop packs that help you get an advantage, or there are literally bundles in there that say event advantage bundles, and it makes it so that you have an advantage over other players during this event. In some of these events, you can only get the parts you need based on leaderboards, which means if you're paying, you are winning. But yet, people still insist it's not pay to win. It's you could do it. Yes, if you spend every waking minute of every day grinding a game that has like energy costs, so that in order to do it, you need to hoard your energy. And if you run out of energy, you better buy some in order to complete this event. Otherwise, you just wasted 3 weeks of your life grinding something that might never come back. Or if it does, it comes back years from now. Or those last couple fragments you need for that rare champion is now $10 for like 5, and you need 25 of them. So you better drop $50 on a single unit. They had an in-game skin that was it was about the size of your thumb, you could see on the screen. $50 for a skin. What? Anyways, that stuff goes. You know what? I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. What games have made you say I'm out, and why? Fallout 76 back in the day, and this is something completely different. This isn't really a pay to win thing. This is so they have legendary weapons in the game, and it was not very easy to earn them, especially really good ones because they would roll specific stats. They would roll stats, and some of them would be it's just super, super good to the point where people were selling them on eBay. People were selling these for real money and trading them in game and doing all sorts of stuff. And then suddenly you get a duplication glitch in the game. You get people duplicating these weapons thousands of times and selling them off left and right, totally destroying the economy in the game so that the stuff you had and you were trying to grind for is now one of the easiest things you can get in the game. And then what happened is people were glitching or hacking or something to the point where some of these weapons had extra stats that you couldn't even get. And that means that your legendary weapons would never, ever, ever be as good as their legendary weapons that they were duplicating and selling and whatever. Anyways, people were calling for the servers to get rolled back, for them to go basically reverse time on everyone's profiles so that all of these items no longer existed. And the thing with that is you would obviously make some people mad. Some people would be ticked off, of course. Those are the people that now have the weapons or duplicated the weapons or bought the weapons from, which is illegal, by the way, bought the weapons from like eBay or whatever. Those people will be pissed off. But most of the players that weren't being, jerks would still be able to return and enjoy the game. Yes, they would lose some progress, of course, but at least the economy in the game wouldn't go crazy. People wouldn't be doing all sorts of crazy glitches. And that would hopefully help your game. They also had some issues where people were, in order to remedy that, they were monitoring people's inventories and all sorts of stuff. What people would do is then trade you with those items, those duplicated items, to get you banned. Sometimes they would even do stuff maliciously that you had no control over. I don't even remember how that happened. Like you'd be logged out or something, or they'd like glitch the lobby or something, and then suddenly your inventory would be gone, or you'd have a bunch of stuff that you didn't have before, and those would be duplicated items, and suddenly you're banned. There was some crazy stuff going on in that game, and that game died fast. So, anyways, what makes you say, you know what? I'm going to log out. I'm going to go play something else. I'm going to go play Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm going to go play something that's story-driven, something that rewards me for every minute of my time. What makes you go, you know what, that new MMO, that I've been eagerly awaiting, maybe it's time that I drop this game I've invested all this time in, and I try something new. A lot of people are playing Final Fantasy XIV, fantastic game. Gosh, I would love to find the time to play. There's a lot of content creators for Warframe that don't play Warframe anymore. A lot of people have just moved on to other things, which is totally fine. It's all, whatever. Maybe they've felt like they've done everything they needed to do. Maybe there's just not enough content to keep them interested. They're not fashion frame type people. They get 2 or 3 Warframes they really love, and they play them all the time, and they go through the game, and they do whatever they got to do, and they just move on. That's totally cool. But I'm hoping this video is a collection of ideas and warnings for not just digital extremes to be careful, but other developers, other studios that need to be like, maybe loot boxes are not a good idea based on this game, and this game that failed and died because of their introduction of loot boxes. Or maybe when our players scream and say we need to roll back the servers because everything is just falling apart, maybe we should listen. Or maybe, because I was very nervous when Warframe introduced these paid bundles. If you don't know, Warframe Digital Extremes was bought by, I believe it was Tencent, which is a huge company that is very, that really does enforce the idea of buying bundles and extra packs and content with real money. All their games pretty much are full of that type of stuff. However, Digital Extremes came out and mentioned that in their contract that they signed, they have creative freedom over the game. They have control of what they do with their game, and Tencent doesn't necessarily have the power to just, totally change the game altogether, change all their monetization, change whatever. However, no matter what, they do to some degree have to cater to the big company that owns them. I'm assuming around the time that Tencent took ownership over Digital Extremes, we saw some external bundles for sale in Warframe. Now, it's not necessarily the first time that we've had things for sale. Obviously, we had Prime Access. I'm not really talking about that type of stuff, but there were I think maybe it was started with Gauss or shortly after the was it maybe after the Second Dream? Basically, what you would get is actually, I think it was after Fortuna. You would get a Warframe, a new weapon, an exclusive skin, a couple other items like 3-day boosters for your resources and affinity, and then a couple glyphs or something, a couple cosmetic type things, and it would be for sale outside of Warframe for like $30-$40. I think there's one currently for sale for Gyre. If that one is gone at this point, I know they also did the recent Unreal Tournament thing. Some of this stuff we were able to get, like the Unreal Tournament stuff you got by logging into Epic Games for free, so it was not a big deal. This is kind of if you missed out on it, you can purchase it. I was nervous that this was going to be Tencent stepping in and saying, you now have to make people pay for this stuff with real money, or they're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to earn it in game. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I believe all of these bundles were also purchasable with Platinum, which you could also argue you can purchase Platinum with real money. Platinum is the in-game currency for anyone who doesn't know. And the thing is, though, you can actually earn Platinum in-game. And I say it's very easy to do so. As long as you are being aware of the values of many of the things in game and you go farm these things, it's pretty easy to acquire Platinum in game from people who already have it. They'll just trade you that currency, and you could acquire with, obviously luck is involved, but you could acquire hundreds of Platinum in a day if you farm the right tiles, you farm the right gear, equipment, whatever, and trade it. It's not too hard. So that's pretty nice. But I was a little nervous that they were going to take over and they were going to say, no more earning stuff or paying for stuff with in-game stuff. You have to pay cash. And fortunately, that's not a thing. But anyways, there might be something I'm missing. But I am curious to see what you guys think. What has made you drop a video game for something else? What kind of, decisions maybe have dev teams made that made you go, that's it. I'm done. I'm curious. Of course, like I said, stay tuned. I'm going to return to that free-to-play no-hood survival, or not survival, solo Warframe stuff where I make things super, super difficult on myself. I recently got Vauban on. I say recently. I haven't logged into that profile since the Deimos, just before the Deimos rework. Yeah, you'll see that content. So just know that it's old content, and it will be very new content after I drop all these videos that I've had sitting on my hard drive. There's a few of them. But just know I'm going to be doing current content very soon with that. I'm going to be testing the Eczema stuff. I'm going to be challenging my stuff. I've got Excalibur and Vauban. I think I have Rhino and Necros being baked in the oven. I can't remember, but I'm trying to approach the game with those challenges in mind, but also teach new players how to go about the game the right way to kind of min-max. I say min-max because one of the first Warframes I tried to get was Necros for the sake of being able to farm resources very quickly and to kind of show the perks and the proper way of going about certain missions with all of these challenges in mind, showing that those people who are not using these challenges should be able to do this if I can do it with challenges. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys again in the next video. Blow.